What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video in the SQL Made Simple series. So in this video, we'll be tackling a very important SQL concept, null. And this is a way that we can handle missing data or unknown data in our databases. So understanding the null is key to writing accurate queries and avoiding unexpected results. This can help us handle missing data or undefined data points. My name is Kola Ademola, and I'll be helping you break down how you can handle null values in your database. Without wasting so much time, let's get straight to the video. In SQL, null represents missing values, unknown values, or even undefined data points. So unlike something like 0 or even an empty string, null means the value is just simply not available. So since null isn't an actual value, we can't use the regular ways of filtering data or the regular operators such as the equal sign or not equal sign to check for it. So instead, what we can do, or what SQL has provided for us, is a special operator or keyword that we can use for that, which in this case we have the is null, which is used to find records where a column has no value. So basically, we want to check in this column, do we have missing values? Do we have instances where the value is not available? So with the is null, you are able to filter for those specific rows of data. Meanwhile, when we come over to the is not null, we use this one to filter out missing data and only keep rows or records where we have actual values or data. So in cases where you just want to filter out missing data from your database or from your table, you use the is not null. So the moment where you say where a column is not null, that automatically translates to saying give me every single row where this column has no missing value. Or basically you're just saying give me every single row where there is value or where there is data in this column. Meanwhile, the is null, on the other hand, you use that to target or find the missing values or the null values. In this video, we'll be tackling examples to see how this works. A typical example for something like this could be maybe somewhere in your customers tables, for instance, you have some instances where customers did not impute their emails, and you want to fish out those customers with no emails. So we can just basically use the is null, and we say something like where the customer's email is null, basically where the customer's email is not available. Meanwhile, for the is not null part, we know that we have some customers with missing email, but we are only interested in the data for customers that have email. Maybe the marketing team wants to reach out to these customers, so we only need customers that have email. So we can go ahead and filter our data to say only return the customer data where their email is not null, meaning where their email is available. So we are going to jump over to my Postgres screen, and we are going to see how all this can be put together to help us accurately filter for the necessary data. All right, so we have two questions each for each of these different null operators. So we'll look at two questions for the is null. We'll also look at two questions for the is not null in order to just understand how they work and how they can be put to use. Under the is null, we are going to try this question. It says we should find customers who don't have an email address. So we want to know those customers that we don't have their email addresses. So first of all, as we already know, you try to figure out which table can you get this kind of data from. So understanding the kind of database we have, we are sure that this kind of information would definitely come from our customers table. So if we run this query, we get to see all our customers, their names, their email, their phone number, and so on. But we want to know, is there any customer that did not specify their email address? Do we have such customer? So how can we figure, rather than scrolling through our data and trying to manually find that, we can just easily filter them out. And how do we filter? We use the where clause. But in this case, what do we want to do? We want to look at where their email address is not available. Remember, the is null is used to just check where your data is not available, where the data is missing, or where the data is undefined. So we can now say where the email is null. So what does is null mean? It means it is empty, it is not available, it is not there. when I run this query now, all right, so we are getting an empty table. So what does this mean? This basically means we don't have any customers with no email. And this is just telling us that all our customers provided their email address. So if we had customers that did not provide their email address, they would have popped up in this result. So that is basically how the is null works. So you just specify the columns and then you apply the is null to that filter. So let's try the second question. This one says we should find products without a price. So maybe we are wondering if we have products in the database that we've not yet specified their price, but we are not sure. So we need to filter and see if we have such data. So first of all, we look at the table that we can get this data from, and that is definitely our products table. So if we highlight and we execute this, so we can see all our product information. But is it possible that we have some products where the price was not defined or where the price was not stated? So we don't know for sure, but we need to filter and check. So we say where our unit price is null. So what does this mean? Where unit price is missing, where unit price is not available. So if we run this, if we have such products, we should see them. So once again, we have an empty table, which means for this particular database, all the products, their prices were listed or their prices are available. So that is just basically how the is null filter works. It helps you check or filter for rows where the data is missing or where the data is not available. I know that for this particular database, we can't actually see a result of such scenarios, but that's basically because all the data is provided. But in a case where you have such missing values or such missing data, the moment you filter for your data like this, that will just bring you those records. So we are moving on to the is not null. And we said for is not null, what this does is it will basically give us where we have the data. It will filter out missing values. So let's look at this example here. It says retrieve only customers that we have their date of birth. Retrieve only customers that we have their date of birth. So we start by taking a look at our customers table, since that is where we can get the customers information. So what is this question trying to do? This is just basically trying to help us retrieve only customers where their date of birth is available. So in a scenario where some customers did not provide their date of birth, but we only want to focus on those that we have their date of birth available. So we can use the is not null. So we basically say where the date of birth, so we have our date of birth column here. If we had some missing date of birth and we only want to just focus on those that their date of birth is available, we can then go ahead and say where the date of birth is not null. Basically what this means is where the date of birth is not missing, where the date of birth is not empty. So give us all rows where date of birth is available. So if we run this and then boom, that should give us the accurate data that we need. So this means every single customer that we are going to see on this result, that's basically telling us that their date of birth is available. So move on to the very last question. This one says we should retrieve all products where their price is not missing. So in a scenario where maybe some products, their prices are not yet available or their prices was not listed, and we just want to focus on products that their prices are available, that would mean we want to use the is not null filter. But let's start by taking a look at our products table first. And then we can see all the different products information we have. But in this case, we want to just focus on products that their prices are available. So that would mean we need to filter the unit price column. And we say where the unit price is not null. Basically, we are saying where the unit price is not empty, where the unit price is not missing, meaning only retrieve rows or products where unit price is available. And if we should run this query, this will only just return such product or such rows of data where the unit price is not missing. So that is basically how you handle null values in SQL. You need to know when to use the is null and when to use is not null. So is null, you use it basically when you're trying to find those missing data, those points where the data is not available, those points where the data is missing. That is when you use the is null. But when you want to focus on where the data is available, that is where the is not null comes in. You're saying give us where it is not empty, where the data is available. So that is not null. So with this added to our SQL toolkit or arsenal, we are getting much more better with SQL. So that is the point of this entire series, to help us make SQL simple. Just like the name implies, SQL made simple. And that's a wrap on how you can handle null values in SQL like a pro. But then let's think about this. What happens when you need to search for patterns in our data, or we are trying to look for partial matches in our data? So that's what we'll be treating in the next video. We are going to be exploring the like and the I like operators. So these are very, very powerful operators when it comes to finding patterns in our data or even partial matches in our data. So with this, you're able to do some very, very powerful filtering. So stay tuned. And just like we have done for every other video in this series, if you look in the description of this video, I'll be dropping a couple of questions for you to try your hands on. And you can just drop your code or your queries in the comment section, and we'll talk about it there and see how we can also help each other grow. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one. So do well to like this video, share this video, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe so you get notified when I drop the next video. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next one.